Watching from the green room. My guest is Russell from Etched and Embers. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad, man. Good to be with you.
Awesome. Thanks for taking some time out to chat with us from the green room. And Etched and Embers released the single Fear, right?
Yep.
Yep. Along with the video for that track. Talk about the track and the concept behind the video.
Right on. Hey, a tune's been out for just a little bit now. We were a little late to the publicity bandwagon, just as we're working through the radio campaign and such. But the song we went out to Wichita, Kansas back in February and tracked a couple songs with Chris Dawson at withEtched Studio, who's been working with us as a producer for the last 5 or 6 singles.
Right.
And this was our first foray into demoing on our own, a drop tune with 7-string guitars and such. Right. We had done one back in March of 21 that we co-wrote with somebody. That was a re-release of my own solo stuff. So
okay.
the song came about pretty quickly. It was a little heavier edge for us, which we're a little heavier band than most people would lead to believe, just because of the earlier singles that we released. We're pretty new band too. I mean, the actual lineup right now is just over a year old, and the band itself is just over 2 years old.
Okay.
So I wrote the tune just because, and I hope that one day we get past talking about the pandemic and COVID and all that. Right. But I was kind of in a different world here in Missouri. Lake Ozark area is a tourism capital of the country, right. And we didn't shut down like everybody else did. So we kind of lived our lives as normal. I never missed a day of work.
Wow.
The only thing I had issues with was the supplies, but I still am a working musician. We play as much as regular, but I do own a business. So right. Just out and about doing my daily grind, I saw people just terrified to resume life and get back to normal.
Right.
And the song kind of was born out of that. And I constantly see fear tactics being used from the higher ups in
yep.
the governance of the people. And it doesn't affect just one side; it affects all of us.
Oh, of course, yeah, definitely.
So it was kind of born out of that. As far as the video, we kind of left it to our videographer and producer to we shot the video in kind of a live format, a performance video with just a little bit of abstract editing and such. And there's some TV screens in there that,
right.
that flash some images, and we actually let him choose all that.
Nice.
Just from the lyrics of the song and kind of what he felt, and let him have his artistic input in that. And that was Juan Ibanez out of St. Louis, Missouri area. And he shot for a lot of big bands, done some killer stuff, and they're actually doing some movie concept footage right now. Nice. With some great actors. And so anybody that's listening, check that out. Juan Ibanez or JT Ibanez, he's got the Aubrey Hotel movie that he's working on now. So
Okay, nice. I'm about to check that out. You said the track was produced by, or helped, you worked with Chris Dawson, who's worked with like Saul and Any Given Sin and Lines of Loyalty. How was it like? How was it having him in the studio with you guys, working with them?
well, we had worked with Chris through the tail end of 2020,
Okay.
2020, yeah, 2020, I guess. Through the summer and into the fall of 2020, we were working remotely with him. We were tracking at a studio in Springfield, Missouri, Reach Audio, Kevin Gates,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the one that did the first few singles for us. We were kind of branching out and getting into radio, so we hooked up with Dawson. So the first few tracks, "Sail the Silence," "From Ashes," we've got some unreleased tracks too that he's worked with us, and those are all
Okay.
done remotely, where we recorded the audio somewhere else and then sent them to him.
Yeah.
So "Bring Me Back," the 2021 release was done first. We were in the studio with him, so that was our first
Okay.
foray actually into the studio. So when we went back, the lineup, when we did "Bring Me Back" in March of 21, it was just Tyler and I, the lead guitar player, went
Okay.
in because we had parted ways with our original drummer and a bass player.
Okay.
So went and did "Bring Me Back" solo. So when we did "Fear," it was actually the first time we'd been in the studio full band with him. So it was it really helped solidify our relationship with him because he got to see the band as a whole,
Right.
seeing what we were capable of, and what we could do. And pretty easy to work with, I think too. You know, we were open to ideas, and we demo these songs when we write the songs, demo them, and then we kind of break them back down when we go into the studio with Chris and
Okay.
build them back up with his
Oh,
creative input. Well, so
gotcha.
you get the mind of somebody that's been in the music industry for a long time and worked with the pros, and so it really gives us as a as artists some insight into the producing side and
Right.
what radio is looking for and what the record labels are looking for and such.
Right. And it always helps to have somebody like that in the studio with you. Um, how excited are you guys to be able to get back and play some shows? I know you said some one-off shows and a festival show. It's not exactly a tour, but how excited are you guys to get back on the stage and play?
Oh, we are. When we formed this, I did a test lineup in 2019, mid 2019, and the actual lead guitar player, Tyler Kenyon, was the original drummer of the band.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing that because I'd sat on so many original tunes my entire life, different projects, carried tunes from one project to the next.
Right.
And I had a health scare in 2018 and didn't know that I was ever going to step foot on stage again. Worked through that. It was about 9 months to a year of testing and trying to figure out
Wow.
what was going on with me. So I'm like, I've got to set some goals in mind and see what we can do. So when we actually hit the studio for the first release we did, Spoken, in January 2020, we dropped that song in February and went back in the studio, and then lo and behold, everything shut down.
Right.
So we did some local shows because we were still able to do those here in the Missouri area. But fast forward to 2021 with the new lineup, and then we started getting out and about. We went down to Ocean Springs, Mississippi, played shows for Dirty 30 Fest down there. But we've been fortunate this year. We expected to tour this year, and we'd won a contest back in October of 21 that
Mm-hmm.
was slated to put us on a national tour, and that got pushed back by record labels and things like that. That not on our side, but on the
Right.
other
Right.
bands we were going to be touring with. So, but we've been fortunate. We got we hit the stage with Bad Flower 10 years this year. Any Given Sin, Saul, Kingdom Collapse, Dropout Kings,
Wow.
Resolve. We've had some really good shows, but we just are we kind of we're focused on building our production and
Right.
stage show and all that too. So we've been kind of balancing all these things, but we do expect we've actually turned down some national tours with some really big acts
Wow.
because we were just in the preparation stage. We wanted to make sure we were ready
Right.
when we went out.
Right. So you say, I mean, speaking of those bands, 10 years, Any Given Sin, all awesome bands. How's it like sharing the stage with those guys?
I love it. Obviously we love to be in front of a crowd that's put there by some names that are household, recognition. But I'm kind of weird. I don't get out and talk to them much because, 10 years, any given, or 10 years, Bad Flower, they pretty much hang out in the tour bus all day.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to bother people.
Right.
We cross paths and we say hi's and things like that. But the biggest part of it is just to see the professionalism of the bands that have quote unquote made it, and what we're seeking to do as well. We learn a lot.
Right.
And if I ever said we were going to stop learning, I'd be lying, because my intention is to continue to grow as a band and evolve as a songwriter. So it really, that's what I take away from it, is just seeing the professionalism that a lot of these big bands bring to the table.
Right.
So
I like the bands that have made it, like you said, that help the bands that are trying to make it. I've heard stories about Shinedown, helping out a band that lost their equipment and stuff like that, and it's just cool to see, the bands that are big like that to help the bands that are trying to get out there. So,
absolutely, we were all just local musicians at one point. Every band's a local band from somewhere, so it's a matter of we're here to help too, and we'll lend equipment for a show. I mean, we'll lend guitars, whatever, and we're good at stage swaps and striking stages and things like that. We want to help when needed. Absolutely.
Right. So, any plans to release more music in 22?
Oh yeah. We have probably the hardest hitting song we've recorded as this project coming out, and we're kind of finagling the release date right now. We actually flipped it. It would have came out first, but we were looking at radio, and the tune that's getting ready to come out just doesn't seem like a radio song. It's more of an Octane song or liquid metal type song. It's definitely our heaviest offer to date. So I think people are going to be kind of surprised when they hear it, and that it's came from us after hearing things like From Ashes that are a little more radio friendly and Cell Silence.
Right.
But we're in the talks right now to go ahead, because we put things off with the pandemic and all that. We were going to drop a full album last year. We pushed it back. So I think we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on a 7 or 8 song EP that will probably release before the end of the year.
Okay. Looking into 23, what can we expect from Etched and Embers?
We're definitely going to be hitting the road a lot. We're out in Las Vegas for Apocalypse in the Desert in March, and that may kick off a tour run for us.
Gotcha.
We are hitting the studio November 4th and 5th, to crack the next single. And then we'll be back almost immediately after that for the next one. And that'll be the completion of that, 7 or 8 song EP. But we expect to be out and about in a lot of people's areas. We've been traveling mostly through the Midwest, from the Gulf Coast up to like Iowa area.
Okay.
Just kind of staying somewhat central, just because really, I mean, it was really unaffordable for a lot of bands now.
Yeah.
Gas hit record levels. It was tough, and we were pinching pennies just to get to places. So.
Oh yeah, and I noticed the trend that a lot of bands are, because of that issue of the prices of gas and fuel to travel, they're holding off on doing the touring and allocating all their funds to recording and producing and stuff like that. So I get it, man. I mean, you gotta do what's
shortage. I mean, there's bands canceling tours because they can't get tour buses, and I mean, there's two sides of that. Yeah, a lot of bands are out now because they've been so pent up and not able to tour. For example, Saw, that we were supposed to go on a national run with them. We won their Battle of the Bands, looking to fight Battle of the Bands back in October, and then negotiating things with their record label and such. And they ended up getting back in the studio. But it was like, we played the first show, a Southern Slam, 2 or 3 weeks ago with them in Sutherland, Iowa. That was the first show they played all year long.
I know they've had like just a string of bad luck a little bit. I think, remember something happened to their equipment, and then all that.
They were down, and I can't remember if it was Welcome to Rockville. They were set up ready to go, and Storm come in, and
that's it, and
blew the place up. And then they they ended up getting their set canceled after they made the trip and set up and everything. So it's the world we live in, man. It's the world we live in.
Yep,
never know.
That's why I can understand that. Like I did an interview the other day with a musician, and she said that being a musician is like running a business. You gotta balance all that out and allocate your funds to where you think they're going to be most beneficial. So,
Yeah, it's a constant growing process, and it is a lot to take. You know, just outside this door here in the control room of my small studio,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready to go through and pack up equipment to hit the road, and we worked on some new production last night. So it's a lot of work, and you know, people think that it's not a real job or things like that. And
Yeah.
I tell you what, we put in some long hours in this line of work.
Oh yeah. I mean, people think that if you're a musician, you're just living the rock star life, and that's not the truth, you know.
Oh, I wish it was. It's a lot of stress and anxiety and everything else. And, you know, we want to be at our best. So it's tough whenever you're navigating between cities to be rested up and ready for the next people. But we try to put it out there on stage and let people make their own decisions on, you know, whether they want to follow us or not. But we've been great grabbing people right and left with some of the shows we've done. So
Nice.
that's the best place for us is on the stage.
Yep. Where can we find more info about the new music coming out, where the band's going to be for shows, and just what's going on with the band?
Everything, every social out there we're on,
Okay.
even on Twitch, but we're just now entering into the Twitch realm. Our drummer was out of Des Moines, Iowa, so he was doing a commute to come down, or we were meeting him at shows.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just relocated to the area. So there'll be more to see from us on a live stream Twitch type setup.
Okay.
We did a live stream a few weeks ago because we gave a guitar away. So
Oh,
I
nice.
wanted to perform a live stream with that guitar before we signed it and give it to the gal that didn't want it. But so all socials, and the best way to get to all those socials is just to go to etchedandembers.net.
Okay.
And then that'll link all the socials, link you to the shows and to the songs and things like that, or you know, or Spotify. And that's where we always ask people to go first. Hit us up on Spotify,
Right.
iTunes, Apple Music. You know, those are the metrics that help us grow from a smaller regional band to a larger national band.
Right. Right. Awesome. Awesome. Hopefully you guys get on the road and come through Indiana, and I'll be able to catch a show.
We're definitely coming up your way. We've had small runs offered to us because we're gonna be doing a lot of 2 and 3 day runs just to kind of keep it affordable.
Yeah.
But we're definitely talking about coming up to your area into Ohio. We have a lot of fans on the East Coast and the northern
Right.
part of the country, and so we're going to be making our way up there, and also we're getting ready to start a contest that for a playlist challenge on some of our Spotify stuff, to go anywhere the winner is and do a personal live show for them.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yep.
Once again, you're watching From the Green Room, and my guest has been Russell from Etched and Embers. Be sure to check them out. The link will be in the description below on the video. Russell, it's been fun and a pleasure chatting with you, and thanks so much for joining me in the Green Room, man. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate your time.
Thanks. You have a good night.
You as well.